ladies and gentlemen, we are here today, and I am back with a full NBA 2K22 video. This is going to be part 2 of how not to play NBA 2K. You understand me? Now, what you need to understand here is that I play a lot of rec with randoms, as you all know. Most of the matches that I play for any 2K is usually with randoms or a combination of friends and randoms. But nonetheless, randoms are mostly in the equation. And so, because I am usually, competent and good enough to do, decent enough with randoms, like I win more than I lose, typically, I find it as a test, not only mentally, but just to put my skills to the test as far as, seeing how exactly or how well I am able to adapt to the play style of others, people that I've never met before, people that I have no idea who they are, none of their tendencies, none of their play styles, anything like that. Because for the most part, it's usually pretty simple to read maybe a 2K. Because a lot of the randoms, especially in the rec, or just in general rec park, it doesn't really matter. A lot can be very incompetent, stupid, make awful decisions for no reason. And so you're going to see just how exactly this game went. And so as you see here, starting out, the game is pretty hectic. Everyone's feeling, the game out, seeing how things go. You can already see terrible things are happening for the other team. And at this point, I was already starting to feel confident. Now, unfortunately, I missed out off the dribble 3, which I was not anticipating. But, it happens. But we get to a point here where that was a little bit of foreshadowing there. You seen that there was enough space in between myself and someone else to take a shot, but the guy took too long to give me the ball. And by the time he did, somebody else had already recovered and went back to where I was. But you see white team struggling to get a bucket. I managed to pass the ball out to that guy there, and he gets a nice little 3-point shot. And so we're up. And this is how things started out. And so, I'll be going in and out as far as commentary goes, but you're going to be seeing a lot of nonsense there. You see that nasty looking shot there. He goes ahead and get that lean animation, which is something you never want to see at all. And we just continue on to the rest of the game here. We get to this point now where my matchup, by the way, was a very interesting individual. He definitely tried to go for a lot of steals and just seemed to cut a lot. And so that would typically lead to a lot of turnovers, at least initially, because people would just try to hit the guy that's cutting thinking that he was open. But what a lot of people fail to understand in regards to spacing is that, one, you can't have somebody cutting constantly when the other team is anticipating it. And on top of that, when you have a center or a big man that's roaming around the paint in the first place, because more than likely he's going to get intercepted by either that person's matchup or by the center's matchup, because you're cutting to the paint that's not open. So stop cutting. Now there's going to be some times where you do get it, but that's when, there's no one actually in the paint. But for some reason, you have a lot of people that like to cut to the paint or cut through the paint to get open, when it's not a good idea to do it in the first place, because either you're going to make the person that's handling the ball think that you're open and they try to pass it to you because they're not looking, or you're going to mess up the spacing for the big man who potentially has a chance to go into the paint, go into the post and do something against his own matchup. Can't do any of that because now he basically getting double teamed once you sprint into the paint thinking you about to get open. You making him get more to contesting than what he already was. Dumbass. But anyway, we continue on here, right? At this point, it's 8 points to 0. So you would think things look very good right now. My matchup goes ahead and reaches, you reach, I teach type deal. Didn't necessarily happen in that particular case, but that's what we like to go for a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's always interesting to see just how people handle certain situations as far as the matchups and defense and whatnot. And this is when things kind kind of became a highlight for me. I noticed that this guy was blocking shots everywhere. But I find that guy behind me there for a nice little green. So we go ahead up 11-0. Obviously, for most people, especially when it's a group of randoms playing together, when you see that you're down 11-0 with the first quarter almost complete, a lot of the times people are giving up immediately, right? And by the way, here's another situation in which that cut that he did ultimately put himself and his teammate in a bad position. Almost got a steal. But usually when you see yourself down 13-0, a lot of the times, especially when you're playing with randoms, people are going to quit. People decide that it's no point staying in this match, that it's over, that there's nothing that can be done to rectify this current situation, right? But this team decided to stay in the match. And I'm not entirely sure if they actually knew each other. I doubt they did, just by the way how they played. But they decided to persevere. And as we have this guy here dribbling up the court instead of this, I don't know why a lot of people do that. Especially, power forwards and small forwards or whoever that don't necessarily have that great of dribbling. I don't know why they just try dribbling up the court, waiting to pass the ball just to make a bad pass once they decide to finally pass it. That is always stupid to me. But they decide to persevere, stick through the pain, and it was quite impressive how they managed to really change things around, as you'll eventually see. But even right now, things just look absolutely hectic. And you have to think to yourself, well, Alvin, if you were up 15-0, why the fuck are you making this video? Well, you'll see. And so now we get to the point where we're at the second quarter. They finished the quarter with just 6 points, and we have 17. You thinking things are looking good. Me too. This guy goes for a random foul for no reason. Okay, it is what it is. Whatever. Go ahead and move on. Doesn't really matter at this point, right? Because you feel good when you're in a situation like this, Shout out to Halle Berry. Pause. But that's just the way how things are. And you see this guy here goes ahead and get another nice little green. I'm glad that somebody was able to eat in this game, because definitely wasn't me, as you'll see eventually. But that young man there was getting open from time to time, and then other times, taking shots in which may have been questionable. But you see, after taking that shot, for some reason, now nobody's playing defense, so that was a little confusing in that regard. The guy's almost open again, but unfortunately the guy gets there in time to at least slightly contest the shot. He just didn't green it though. I don't think it was fully contested. And now they're starting to score some points, as you can see here. They have 6 at the end of the first quarter, and they've already scored 5, within a minute. So that's already kind of a bad sign. But you get a cushion, so you feel good about it. Wide open 3-point shot there. Go ahead and green that. so that's nice. Didn't get too many opportunities to score because it seemed like the point guard was really only looking for people when it was wide open, and then he also couldn't create shots for himself. So it was an interesting situation because there was quite a few times when people would, be open enough where they could probably create their own shot if he just gave them an opportunity to do so. But it seemed like he was just more so looking for spot up shooters, spot up wide open situations, not really anything in which you would have to create your shot after getting the ball, which I can obviously do, and perhaps some of these other people can do, but those opportunities never really came up. Now, things are looking real spooky, as you can see here. They already have 13 points, right? They have 13 points, which means they score 7, right? After only scoring 6 in the first quarter. Now, I make a bad pass there because I'm giving the ball in an untimely situation there. So I'm trying to see what I can do. I make an ill-advised pass. They have the ball now. They go back down court. Things are starting to look a little erratic on our end. Look at this type of rotation here, right? Look at this. They managed to get a nice little shot off within the last second. Now it's 25-16. Okay? Now, things are starting to look spooky here. Right? As we can see, this guy deciding to go up for that dumbass layup when the guy that was hitting greens from 3, number 8, was wide open on the wing. What is the point guard looking at, right? So, and I wanted to say that my matchup actually did a pretty good job of staying in front of me for the most part. And there was always at least somebody nearby in the paint as well, so I couldn't necessarily drive. So when there were situations where I was open, I definitely wish the point guard had the eyes to see so, because my matchup was doing pretty good, staying with me. But we get a nice little steal there. We try to go down court, and another unwise decision is made as the guy that's been hitting greens is wide open in the corner, but for some reason we decide to go up for a contested layup. And so things are starting to look bad, right? It's 27-19. I'm noticing very quickly that my teammates, for some reason, decided to switch things up and want to go in the paint constantly, even though clearly there is a center that has been blocking shots all out of hell. Now, the guy there in the corner, he manages to get his nice little shot off again, so we're good to go there. And so we continue on. But hold that thought, right? This guy's wide open for 3. Somebody's not playing defense. Why? Why is someone not playing defense? We need you to pay attention. Things are looking very spooky. Now somebody's passing me the ball down court for no reason. I'm trying to look for the point guard or someone because it's not supposed to be me right now. He takes that.
Oh, dear.
And I'm confused. Then this.
Bitch, are you dumb, dum, 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 dum?
And it's like, bro, what are the randoms doing? Meanwhile, they doing this when somebody is clearly open. If you're getting double teamed, that means someone is open unless the space is not good enough for them to be open, which at that point, that's your teammate's fault for being stupid. But we get a nice little cut there. The guy manages to find him, so that's good. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm starting to get very, very, very nervous, very anxious, very concerned. Because now, and he gets a nice little cut there because the center was nowhere to be found. So now he had enough space to actually do it, right? Yeah, he had enough space to go ahead and get that cut. And here we go again with someone trying to go up on this big man that is clearly blocking multiple shots without even trying. Like, he's blocking shots with ease constantly. And there they are again. Look. They're running into the paint. At this point, you see someone blocking shots over and over again like this. Why are you running into the paint? Why are you trying to run into the paint and pass the ball out? It makes no sense. And now they hit another 3. And things are looking awful. 4 seconds left in the second quarter. And he throws that dumbass pass, adds another turnover to his stat sheet. And so now, when we started the first half the way we did, or the first quarter the way we did, we end the first half that way. And so now the other team has the momentum. They have the momentum, and I know they have the momentum. I'm getting concerned Now we're only up 3 goddamn points because of all of this dumbass, ill-advised, stupid-ass decisions that's been happening. And then it just keeps going. Look at this, bro. Why am I wide open without touching the ball? What's happening? Why is the other guy running to the corner and the paint didn't get the ball? Point guard passing it behind him to the big man or whoever that was trying to set a screen. I just don't understand. And there he goes again. He's going to the paint. He's trying to draw attention. You see the guy is literally jumping all over the place and managing to recover. There's another block. And we can't do anything. 4 seconds left. 3 seconds. He passes the ball to him. That's a brickety brick. And I'm just nervous. And here it is. After all that nonsense, ladies and gentlemen, the white team has decided to tee up. They are locked in, and they have now tied the game. Now, as you can recall, we started this game up 15 to goddamn 0. So to think that we would go from that to this situation now is beyond me. It's not something that I anticipated, and I'm pretty sure it's not something that you would anticipate as well. And so now, at this point, things are just, we're in lackadaisical form because I don't know what's happening anymore. At this point, I'm a victim of circumstance. The same way I was a victim of circumstance in the first version of this video.
Wow, I didn't even go in that.
What the fuck?
And if you have not seen that video that I'm referring to, I would highly recommend it. Okay, it's how not to play. What was it? NBA 2K20. So yeah, I would advise to watch that video because it was a pretty awful situation. But I guess fortunately for my own mental, it was awful from the start. It wasn't like this where we started out extremely great and then faltered at the end. Well, faltered towards the middle, and then things just got really bad towards the end. And we still scoring and whatnot, and we have the lead slightly. But at this point, the fact that they tied the game up when that really should never have been a thing. For me personally, at this point, it doesn't matter. Unless we're up 20 points, I don't feel comfortable that we're going to actually win this game. That's how I felt at this point. That's how concerned I was at this point. Because you just have dumb things happening over and over and over and over again. Right? And so now, as you can see here, we have the point guard for some reason going into the paint. I'm not sure what his plan is, but it doesn't work, as once again the center gets another block on the big man. And at this point, he has 8 blocks already. This man has 8 blocks in the third quarter, and for some reason my teammates think that they're going to go in the paint on this person. Good luck. And so we get into another situation here where green shoes, shooting guard, whoever, or small forward, whoever that is, he does not get a 3 because he's missed. And for some reason, somebody goes into the paint with that center that is clearly a amazing shot blocker is in the paint. And so he misses another shot in the paint because they keep trying to go in the paint with the shot blocking center. Unfortunately, my matchup gets his second bucket of the game by getting a clean cut. Because at this point, I'm starting to lose hope. I'm starting to not feel as involved, especially since I'm not really getting the ball in any situation, especially when I'm wide open. This guy gets ripped up immediately somehow. So that's just unfortunate. They go on a fast break, somehow miss on 2 people being open, right? And then so because this guy drives into the paint and then can't do anything and tries to pass back out, he throws another turnover. And like I said, towards the beginning of this video, that's never good. It's never good. You can set your teammates up for failure very quickly with this type of method, right? And that's the way it should have been. Like, my matchup has 5 turnovers because of what he's been doing. 5. He's not the point guard. He's the shooting guard. He's really touching the ball. He's stacking up turnovers because of these ill-advised cuts that don't lead to anything and then trying to pass it back out to the obvious person. And he's gotten picked off multiple times as a result. And so we have another bad pass, right? This guy spins. He's trying to up fake, and he gets the actual bucket on the big man somehow, some way. But once again, the entire time I seen him doing all those up and unders, all those pump fakes, didn't really matter to me. I was nervous the entire time because that center on their team is no joke. And this guy here goes up with that nasty shot. Point guard goes up for a dunk. He gets it. We're only up 4 points now, 45-41. Again, not confident yet of what the result will be. And this guy goes down the paint with ease, gets a nice little dunk. It's very unfortunate. Now the point guard should be open at this point, and he was, and so he takes that shot and makes it. And fortunately for him, the center did not recover in time to actually contest the shot, because I think it was pretty obvious to everyone that he was going to take that shot because his matchup was still on the floor from that dunk that he had just recently made, right? And so unfortunately for them, the center or no one else, managed to actually get close enough in time to contest that shot enough so that he misses it. And so we see here that they get an offensive board, which was another issue. My matchup gets a clean cut, which is another issue at this point now because he's done that 3 times. And, even though all the other times he hasn't done anything, I just hate that he was getting those cuts off just in general, I like to minimize my matchup's points as often as possible, and definitely like to have it to where they don't score anything. And there's been a lot of games where I've had matchups that don't score anything. And then, there's obviously been games where my matchup actually gets to doing work, mostly because of screens. But you have those occasions where I would say that the person was just actually pretty good at making tough shots, or really took advantage of the fast break opportunities because I just couldn't get back in time. So my matchup scoring on me usually is not common. It's more so an anomaly. And we see here another situation.
Come on, I'm open.
Another situation here where I'm wide open, don't get anything for some reason, and at this point, it's disheartening. I feel betrayed, and I feel let down, right? Because I will admit, my matchup has been doing a pretty good job front facing me, right, and getting good defense. Now, unfortunately, I don't know why I did that bounce alley-oop, but I guess I must have fat fingered it because I was definitely trying to bounce pass it to my teammate. Well, not bounce pass it, but flashy pass it for a faster pass. But I must have fat fingered that because that was awful when it happened. I was very confused. And so, by the way, if you could pay attention, we're in the fourth quarter and there's less than 4 minutes left, and we're only up 2 points. So, again, not very happy. Not satisfied at all by what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. This is just absolute pain, and I don't like it, especially when I know that the other team is not that great and they're making just as bad decisions in countless situations. They make bad decisions as well. They had an awful start, they make bad decisions, and here we are. It should be like this, ladies and gentlemen. It should. Guy takes a terrible shot here. I don't know if he could really do anything there, but point guard manages to make that bullshit, which was great. But now we have a situation here where, where the oh no, he stopped him. That's right. This right here was that was a dagger, basically. I mean, not a dagger, but that was definitely a shot to the heart, because if I'm not mistaken, that guy had not taken a 3 prior to that at all. This guy is like ready to pull even when he's not actually open. So that was unfortunate. I get a rebound, try to pass it to somebody, but I meant to pass it to the guy in the corner, so that was unfortunate. And here we go again with this guy trying to go into the paint. He clearly cannot shoot, so we got another situation where it's a terrible possession. We do absolutely nothing. 2 minutes 32 seconds left. This guy wide open from the corner. 3, green, bang! Things are looking awful, ladies and gentlemen. Looking awful. Okay? And so now we get into the situation here. It's not much spacing. Guy goes into the paint just to not be able to make anything. I don't know what is happening. I mean, the guy here has 10 blocks. 10. And my teammates still think it's a great idea to go in the paint and try to score on a guy that has 10 blocks in a 2K match. Another situation here. He had people open. He had choices. Don't pass it. They try to do a give and go. The guy goes for a dunk, gets blocked again. Now this guy has 11 blocks. And I'm just like, bro. There's just no way that I'm watching this happen. These people are ass. And this guy goes into the paint for whatever reason, yet again. He tries to pass out. Somebody calls a timeout on this guy, thankfully. Because once again, what are you going in the paint for if that center that has 11 blocks is sitting right there? Why? And they try passing it to the guy cutting into the fucking paint. So now we get another turnover. They get a steal. They get another opportunity to score, and they do. Now they're up 4 points. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds left. This guy throws an immediate terrible pass out of bounds. I already considered this game to be over prior to this, but that right there was basically the dagger for me. And it was the dagger for them as well, because at this point they started just flopping every time they scored. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You were down that many points and you just watched the team fumble the fucking bag as much as we just did. We get the ball to this guy again. He takes that shot, misses, right? It's a minute left. We get a steal, pass the ball back down court, right? Pass it to the guy in the corner again. Now he greens it. And by the way, as you can see here, there's multiple times that he's wide open and he makes it. And then there's other times that he's wide open and let me get the ball. Same way how, I was in the same situation on more than one occasion. But at this point, it's still doable. We can still actually come. We can still tie the game up. We can still do something, right? Technically speaking. But watch this. For some reason, the point guard decides to slide down towards the paint and don't check his matchup. And so now they score 3, and that's basically the end of the game. And so now, as a result of us losing a match in which we should never have lost, the other team decides to flop all over the place. And how could I blame them realistically? At the end of the day, we choked that bullshit. And that was just an absolute implosion of the fullest. Another example of how not to play NBA 2K just in general. This time on NBA 2K22. Thank you all for watching. Never replicate that. Peace and bless. Bye.